Hello, America. Today is September the 7th, 2020. It's Labor Day. And I guess I'm out here kind of working. It just seemed like a beautiful morning to step out and touch bases with you again. There's so much going on that it's hard for me to not want to participate in some way, shape, or form into this beautiful change that's going on in America. As far as talking about beautiful change in the Americanteer movement, that is, it's all about changing the system and a dysfunctional system, a broken system, and making it right. It's up to us as a people to start to implement that plan, because no one's going to do it for us as a people. Years back, in formulating the Americanteer movement and implementing the plan, is that we found out there's a lot of words that are not useful anymore. In fact, I found the word racism pretty much obsolete in any conversation. It's just to use the word racist or racism, it's just a bad conversation starter. It doesn't really, it's not a conversation starter, man. It just doesn't help people. It doesn't help educate people when we start talking about the word. But then people that want to talk about racism in the extreme, like racist, are thinking that we're educating, like we just need to educate you. People do not need to be educated on racism, and that's we all know it's alive and well. And as Americanteers, we know that that's not that's an obsolete word. Social discrimination is probably a better word to use, and it goes across the board to a lot of different issues outside of a racism kind of movement. But it's all the same. Social discrimination is the same thing. You know, it's profiling people because of the color. You know, it's profiling people because of the way their hair is or their religion, or you can tell that they are working poor. It's of status, and we start to socially discriminate against that. I'm going to tie this in along with the defunding. When you talk about defunding the police, and just like the word racism, it's a hard conversation starter as an Americanteer, because you have to, if you just need to join the Americanteer movement if you really want to. I don't want to even use the word defund, but if you want to, kind of look for ways to manage the money that's going to our police force, which is okay. See, my point being, and what I need to say, and what people aren't realizing, is, in order to build a case and to bring in all the elements and all the players to create real change in the Americanteer movement, that's what I'm trying to say. We need to connect all the dots that go to it. And one of the things that we need to talk about is, let's just follow the money. And a lot of these instances, like healthcare and insurance and fraud and corruption, it's just follow the money. As long as that's being taken, we can easily start to see what's going down here. And the counties that like to profile against people of race and or color, which is like 10% of the community, and 90% of it's white, but the officers in that county will focus on the other status of social discrimination, because all that money goes into the county, so it is just, the way they're keeping people oppressed, even me oppressed, by keep pulling us over, keep profiling, keep giving us tickets, make us go to court, make us pay court fees and fines along with, your fees and fines for not having a proper registration or not having a proper ID or not having insurance and all those things which we got pulled over for no reason whatsoever. And just so an officer can get tickets and keep the oppressed. And that's what my point is. Following the money is like, where does that money go? Have you ever been to night court before? It's insane. I've been, and it's like 50 to 100 of us lined up going outside the building, sneaking around, all of us holding paperwork, between 6 and 9, and they're just, walking us in like we're just like cattle in a sense. They have one judge there. They just walk us out in front of the judge. Judge makes a quick judgment. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, court fee. $55. This and that. And basically, you just got hammered. The person that's standing there just got hammered with hundreds of dollars worth of fines and fees. It's the fees that go to the city or the county. And maybe the fines do too. I don't know where that money goes to. I mean, I don't think the motor vehicle department actually collects that. So it's probably all state money anyways. And where does that money go to? Well, it goes to paying wages, city councilors. It goes in the barrel of funds for the county. So when you start talking about defunding, you're talking about not just talking about the police. You're talking about the whole people that's working in that county, and them thinking it through, thinking well, this is going to affect how much money revenue we're going to have in our county next year. We can't have the $2.5 million that we've been making off of this, poor people and people of socially discriminating profiling. And we can't, if we have to stop that, that means money is going to start to stop flowing through the county. So the county needs to figure out a different way of making money too. And we need to help them as Americanteers focus on other ways of making money, and also at the same time to stop profiling members of the community for money. And no one's really breaking the law. I mean, it's like it's a projection. They want you to break the law. They want you to resist. Because it's all just more and more and more of either making more money or keeping people more and more oppressed and suppressed. So it's all win, 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 win with them, and it's lose, 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 lose with other people. And so if you're sitting there watching this video thinking, why are people upset? Well, that's why they're upset, because we the people have been constantly profiled year after year after year after decade after century, and then we get, even though you're compliant, you can be intimidated enough to be semi-non-compliant, and that will start to instigate a whole resistance of arrest kind of movement of harassment, and it will just continue on and on and on until we actually stop that part. So it's a money thing, it's a social discriminational thing, it's it all kind of goes into each other. So if we want real change in our social structure, we're going to have to focus a little bit on everything. Okay, not just the police. We have to focus on city councilors. We have to focus on the county and let them know that they can't keep making money off of poor people and people of color. They have to stop it. They have to stop directing their officers to stop doing that, and start to equally, hand out tickets and profile everyone. If there is a white woman driving an SUV, you run her plates just as much as you would a black woman, driving an SUV down the street, and somehow they're just bypassing certain cultures and groups of people and only focusing on other drivers, which is usually people of color. And so that's just a tip. And I'm not even trying to say this is the overall solution. I'm saying that is just a part of what solutions look like, or what the conversation is about. And that is the Americanteer way of peacefully making and creating change in the right way. It's not by, even though I applaud the protests, I really do. I applaud you people. You are some fucking extraordinary, and you're inspiring. You have a lot of courage to be there, and you have the right to assemble. You have the right, to freedom of speech, and so use those rights. You have freedom of the press. Use freedom of the press. You could go with more CD work, more like civil disobedient kind of movement. I would like to see that, but that's just a personal call on protests. And what I mean by that is just everyone, the thousands of people, go and peacefully sit down and lay down in the middle of the road, occupying as much space as they possibly can, have some attorneys with cameras around to make sure that you're compliant. And if the police or a SWAT team or riot people want you out of the way, they're going to have to literally pick you up and move you. And if you don't resist in any way, that's all they can do. They can't really arrest you, and if they do, it's not going to last. It's not going to hold up in court. And if you have people there that are, documenting the civil disobedient movement, it will go far. It will gain strength, and it's a silent roar of sorts, and it will work. I don't know how to encourage people to do that, but I would, if I was part of this rural movement in a stronger way. That's what I would encourage. Other things I would encourage is the fact that I like to take notice in our past leaders, Martin Luther King. Okay. You know what I really loved about him and his message? What I really, really liked about that whole movement and his people and his comrades and colleagues is that they all look good. Malcolm X looked good. I mean, all those past people that stood up for rights, they put on a suit, they went and stood up and chins up high, proud Americans, they're not ghetto people, and you can't treat us that way, and we are real Americans, and we know how to look good. Yes, we do. We know how to protest and look good while we're doing it. We don't need to wear hoodies and hide our face and that kind of stuff. That's not, at least that's not what they were doing, and so I like to take some of what they were doing and apply that to today, to the movement that's going on now, and if the Americanteers were to show up, I would encourage every Americanteer that if we're going to line up and show up at a protest and that magnitude, that kind of gravity, then we better all be wearing suits, and it wouldn't hurt to have cameras. Yeah, so it wouldn't hurt to have cameras. I had to check on the camera. I had to stop it and check on it because I've been having some problems with it. So I'm not able to just run off and talk all I want as freely as I want, like I used to. And I got to get it back to that page because I can go on and on and on, and 30 minutes can go by like that, and I still have a lot more to talk about. Because there's a lot to talk about. Change is not one subject, one word think. There's a lot going on, and in my head it's like a carousel of everything spinning around and stopping at certain categories that I need to stop at to address those certain issues. But it can all easily be tied in together, and that's what makes Americanteers and the movement so awesome, is that if you really want a singular voice that makes sense, then join or contribute to the Americanteer movement. Help me help America. Help me spread the word I just spread. Help me talk about the solutions I'm talking about right now that are really valid and legit ways of approaching a solution, rather than trying to get the rest of the community to look at me as I'm a tyrant of sorts, and I'm not a tyrant. I'm just as American as everyone else, and I want to do the right thing just like everyone else, or I want to do the right thing and maybe not like everyone else. I'm finding out more and more and more that people maybe give me the lip service. They tell me they want to do the right thing, but when it comes down to it, they really don't care, or they really don't. We want to talk about change, but we really don't want to participate in change. And it really is change is a beautiful thing, and it can be a beautiful movement for everyone. And like I said, we do have a plan, and now is the time to talk about that plan, implement that plan, get Americanteers to join together, so we can have a national movement, to start to resolve and rectify these things. These things are not going to be done overnight. It's going to take a little time for change to come around, but I promise you, in the Americanteer way, we will create the real change in a healthy, peaceful way with all Americans. And that is where we should be going anyway. To promote hate or create hate, and or to run around saying that we need to educate people, and that's the problem. People are already overeducated on the subject. It's not about education anymore. Educating the people. Everyone's perfectly aware that they are socially discriminating. They're totally aware that they're socially profiling and treating people in a second-class kind of way, and so it's not like they're unaware of it, and we have to re-educate them. This is not about education. The process of change and solutions is about re-engineering, social engineering what's already in the mindset, which keeps getting played over and over and over again with a lot of Americans, and even the leaders feed into it and try to let other people know that is the right way of thinking, but it is not the right way of thinking. It's a social engineer thing. So if you think you're being a free thinker and an individual, I'm sorry to break this news to you, you're not. You're not original. You're being played by other leaders that you somehow champion, and you don't realize that you're being played because you want to be played out. You feel like that's part of being American, is to promote and hate and to go out and hurt other people. That is just the whole other flip side of what's going on with the protests. It's like I try to talk about protests and over protests. The layering of protesting going on is it's a good thing, but it's just a little backwards, and I need people to understand. So I know where you're coming from, and but it's not helping. Okay, you want to help, be a part of the peaceful change. You want to help America, you want to be a real freedom fighter, then be a part of change. Don't try to stop change because you don't want to agree with it. And it's not, or you think it's going to somehow threaten your life or lifestyle. That's not what change is. Change is the cool thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's about, living a life and your lifestyle the way you want to. Practicing your own religion. Going to your schools. Participating in community functions. These are all healthy, good things, and we need a functionable community to do that. We need garbage collectors. We need a good postal service. We need a good justice system. We need good judges. It's all feeds into what change is going to look like. All that has to be a little tweaked. If one thing's going to be tweaked out and fixed in a dysfunctional system, a lot of other things have to be fixed at the same time. It's not just a one thing, a one issue fix. And so join the Americanteers is what I'm trying to say. And if you really want to know more, and if you really are wanting change in America, then you will join me and helping me talk more and more and more about what I'm just talking about right now, which is completely, I know right now, I'm like coming out of the box. I'm way out of the box. I'm left field. I'm talking about other perspectives of what's going on here. And I'm sorry I'm not completely on your bandwagon, but I am with you, man. I'm understanding. I know what's going on here. And I know that we can fix this. And if you could trust the protest by blindly going out there and raising hell, then you can trust the Americanteer movement in a peaceful way to create change. Does that make sense? Like if you got it in you to go out there and do it, then you have it in you to become extraordinary and join the Americanteers for real change, not just for this, like, I want to be popular and I'm part of this movement change. This is all about all Americans. You got to be as neutral as possible to be a part of change. You can't just stand on one pedestal and say everything else has got to change except for me or what I believe in. That's not going to happen. And no one's really, it's just not going to happen. You got to include everyone because we're all in this together. That's, and people that everyone, we all kind of keep wanting to separate each other, which is part of what's the problem is, like this whole segregation thing. We're going to separate each other and think like, oh no, they're the problem. I'm not the problem, but we're all the problem. Everyone, we all play into it. And if you don't think you're the part of the problem, then you probably are really part of the problem, because your silence is deadly. Your second class into people is dangerous. And your passive-aggressive actions that you do toward people of color or different race from you is it's going to have a price, and it's going to come back at you, even though you don't think it will. It will, like it has today. It's come up in what you ended up doing was you thought you were pushing people and segregating people away. But no, what's happening now you got a fire. You have, an uprising of sorts because you and we as a people and the police force and the counties and the judges and the district attorneys and the city councilors and everyone else that's receiving all this money, is participating in it. So we need to, find out. Get to it. That's real action. Those are real action steps I'm talking about. They create real change, long-lasting change. Change that could start to improve over the next 10 years for everyone. And I'm not saying that the system needs to change. The system needs to be fair. That's what I'm trying to say. It's so unfair right now. And we're just not going to take it. People are just tired of it. And the people who think it's fair are not being affected by it all because you're not, you're privileged, you're white, you know how to avoid things like that. When the working poor doesn't have that luxury, they don't have that option. So let's join together. My name is Michael Tomlinson. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate your time. Let's get to work. Let's get busy. Let's change America. Together we can do this under one flag, standing on one ground. I don't know what else more to say on top of that, outside of answering weird questions that I may get from people, like, who do you think you are? What makes you so smart? And I'm not claiming to be anybody. I'm not claiming to be a genius, because I'm not. But I am smart enough to know what change is about, and I have enough experience in life to know that things are really, really wrong, and even the solutions are wrong in order to create change. It's going to create more hate, more frustration, more disappointment. So thank you again for your time. Let's do this. Let's make history. Let's embrace it. Have fun. Let's dance. And that's change. Happiness is change. Love is change. And put on a suit for change if you have to. Join me. Let's do this. Have a great day. Stay cool. Stay calm. Wear your mask. We're still in COVID-19. Social distant from each other. And we're still dying. Americans are still dying. So be safe. Don't spread the virus. Don't go out there and try to catch the virus. Don't go out there and try to, just wear a mask no matter what. If you're going to be out in public, even though I should be wearing one right now, if there was anyone within 50 feet of me right now, I might be wearing it. But there is nothing going on right now. It's pretty much a dead community. It's a Labor Day. It's a holiday weekend too. So again, I'm going to say it again. Thank you for your time. My name is Michael Tomlinson. Have a wonderful day.